Hello students, welcome to Recitals in Depth by Vajiram Ravi. Here we will discuss India mapping in detail. The approach that we do in the discussion of mapping is kindly unique. So let me brief you through what we will do so that you will have a very clear understanding. In the month of current affairs, if a geographical location is being in use, that will be for history or geography, polity or economics or internal security or international relations. We take that particular geographical location and discuss it through maps. This is done for a couple of reasons. Number one, in UPSC Prelims, geography based locations have been taken as a question and the geographical parameters has been asked. So any location which came in current affairs we will discuss through the lens of geography. Number two, current affairs will be covered through maps. Number three, this will strengthen one's geographical knowledge better for the prelims and mains. Hello students, in the recitals in depth, we will be discussing about India mapping, where as discussed earlier, we will take a geographical location for any reason that has appeared on the current affairs. We will see through the lens of geography, through the maps. That's our approach, right? And in entire recitals, I would suggest you, when we have this discussion time periods, when you watch the video, you take the recitals and each and every topic, if it is related to any other specific subject, the topic will be covered by the experts in the particular framework like geography, history, economics, science and tech. What we do here is, we will take the locations alone and we will discuss through the geography. For example, in every slide, you will have the map and also the title which appears on the recital. So, you will be able to see right to be free from the adverse effects of climate change as a heading is given in page 13. This judgment of Supreme Court and its background issues will be covered in a separate video, right? What we will discuss today is, we will take the Great Indian Bustard and we will discuss about the Great Indian Bustard. We will discuss about the Great Indian Bustard wildlife sanctuaries. As this topic also has discussed about solar power parks, we will also discuss about the important solar power parks in the states which came in the news. This is the approach. So, you can, the title will be there, you can take the particular recital month magazine with you, you look into it and discuss it from the lens of geography, right? After I write down things, I will just slide away from the board for you to have copy it down without any hindrance towards the visibility. That I will do in every slide, right? We'll start with respect to right to free from adverse effects of climate change. In brief, this discussed about the topic discussed about the Supreme Court verdict in specific to the Great Indian Bustards and the solar parks, right? So, with respect to the Great Indian Bustard wildlife sanctuaries, we do have certain numbers of Great Indian Bustard wildlife sanctuaries in various states in the country. So, before starting with respect to the pictures, we'll start with respect to Great Indian Bustard, and then we'll go on. We'll go by framework, starting from the fundamentals and move on towards it. We come across the bird variety called as Bustard. So, what do you mean by Bustard? Bustard are medium-sized birds which has an ability to fly and also to run faster. There is a common misconception which prevails that bustards won't fly, that which is not true. Bustards are medium-sized birds which has an ability to fly and also to run. To speak in terms of scientific aspects, they come under the family Otidae, and any birds belonging to Otidae will be called as bustard. And we do have 24 bustard species in the world and 4 species are present in India. 24 bustard species in the world and 4 species are present in India. With respect to the world, they are present with respect to Asia, Africa, Australia, Southern Europe. So they are present in the 4 continents. They are not present with respect to the continents of North America, South America and Antarctica regions. Moving to the next location of 4 species of bustards in India. We do have 4 bustard species. Number 1, Great Indian Bustard, which appeared in the news with respect to the relevant topic, where we will be able to see certain important wildlife sanctuaries in the country where they have been present. Desert National Park, Karera Wildlife Sanctuary, Kutch Wildlife Sanctuary, Great Indian Bustard Wildlife Sanctuary and Rollapaddu Wildlife Sanctuary, right. Going into Great Indian Bustard, right. Great Indian Bustard is one among the heaviest birds which fly. One of the heaviest birds which fly, and it has been called by the local name Godavan. Once it has been seen in 11 states of India and Pakistan. Today we see them in 6 states in India. Today we see them with 6 states in India. It includes Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. They have been present in the 6 states, and Rajasthan has the largest number of Great Indian Bustard in India. Rajasthan has the largest number of Great Indian Bustard in India. India is the only breeding ground for Great Indian Bustard in the world currently. India is the only breeding ground for Great Indian Bustard, and they are present in open areas such as grasslands, scrub, even desert regions. The second type of bustard that we see is Bengal florican. Bengal florican, present in India, Nepal and Cambodia. India, Nepal and Cambodia. That is their world distribution. And with respect to India, it is present in the Terai alluvial deposits from Uttar Pradesh to Arunachal Pradesh. In India, it is present in the Terai alluvial deposits from Uttar Pradesh to Arunachal Pradesh. They reside in tall grassland ecosystems. The all other floricans in India or bustards in India will be present in short grasslands. This is the only florican which is present. Bengal florican is the only florican, or Bengal florican is the only bustard that is present in the tall grasslands. Others are in short grasslands. That's their habitat. Right. The third one is lesser florican. It's very smaller in size compared to the other floricans in India. Lesser florican, smaller in size compared to the other floricans, present in northwest India and peninsular India. Present in northwest and peninsular India. Present in northwest and peninsular India. Again, habitat is short grassland ecosystem. Short grassland ecosystem. The next one, the fourth bustard in India, which is McQueen bustard. McQueen bustard. This is again present in northwest India. Short grassland ecosystems. Northwest India, short grassland ecosystems in deserts and sandy areas. In deserts and sandy areas. Another important fact with respect to McQueen bustard is it is present across the world from Sinai Peninsula to Mongolia. It is distributed from Sinai Peninsula, African part, to the Mongolian regions. That is its geographical distribution, right? Before moving again further into it, there is an unique factor. I hope it is copied. The floricans are known for a particular kind of a breeding systems. What they do is like during the times of monsoon, they engage in the breeding, and the breeding system is called as lake breeding systems. What they do is during the monsoons, the males comes together as a group and they perform certain rituals. For an example, right? Some of the bustards across the world, they run faster. The large number of males will be there. They perform some rituals, some run faster. So the running will, this will be seen by the female bustards. And the female bustard chooses the male partner to mate with. Some will be jumping, some will do some body performance of dance. For an example, the lesser florican used to have, see, in general, bustards have a straight, long neck will be there, right? In case of lesser florican, during the times of breeding designs or breeding systems times, their neck will be there, but what they do is like they will bend the neck backwards and they will do certain kind of a dance. Something like if this is the neck, they will bend backwards, which will line over the shoulders or the hip, and then they will do certain, perform some dances. That is called as lake breeding systems. Nothing but, just understand, it is a breeding system, right? And it is called as lake, where male come together and they perform certain rituals. The females watch and the female bustards select the male bustards to mate with. After that, the female will incubate, the females will raise the young ones singly, whereas male will not engage in raising the young ones. That's a character of the animal. Whereas male after mating will be engaged in the lake breeding systems, will be performing to attract another female. But female, once it's been mated, incubate the eggs, raise the young ones and then go on. This is what they do. And with respect to the wildlife, coming back to our discussion point, with respect to the important wildlife sanctuaries of Great Indian Bustard, we do have Desert National Park located in Rajasthan, which appeared in the UPSC preliminary earlier. They asked Desert National Park is spread across 2 districts. That was a statement given a couple of years before, which is Jaisalmer and Barmer Desert National Park. It also has the state tree of Rajasthan, the state animal of Rajasthan, state flower and also Great Indian Bustard, which shows its uniqueness, which shows its importance towards in terms of biodiversity. State tree, everyone knows Kejri trees will be there, Chinkara as a state animal will be there, Rohida as a state flower will be there. All these will be present in Desert National Park. The second one, Kutch Wildlife Sanctuary has been there. Here it's again we do have arid and semi-arid grassland ecosystems, arid, semi-arid and grassland ecosystems where Great Indian bustards breed in those areas. The third one, Karera Wildlife Sanctuary, which is present in Shivpuri district of Madhya Pradesh. Karera Wildlife Sanctuary present in the Shivpuri district of Madhya Pradesh, where this has been in discussion for a period of time for the last decade and more, where certain regions of the Karera Wildlife Sanctuary has been present with respect to the revenue lands. So there has been a proposal and National Board for Wildlife, Government of Madhya Pradesh, and the case is with respect to the court as well, to denotify the areas where Great Indian Bustard habitat is not present, and so the conflict between the revenue and the forest protection laws will be addressed. So this has been under discussion. Similarly, we have one more wildlife sanctuary called as Great Indian Bustard Wildlife Sanctuary in Sholapur, Maharashtra, which is also called as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Great Indian Bustard Wildlife Sanctuary. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Great Indian Bustard Wildlife Sanctuary. This also went under the similar kind of scenarios where certain areas of Great Indian Bustard Wildlife Sanctuary is under the revenue villages and it is not habituated by the birds. Even report said it is wrongly notified, so it went under denotification. Two places we discussed about denotification. What do you mean by that? See, when a national park or wildlife sanctuary is created, we use a word called as notification of national park, wildlife sanctuaries, so and so, which means from date we will first identify this area can be identified as a national park, then government give a intent to declare it as a national park or wildlife sanctuary, and once the claim is settled, the region will be declared as national park or wildlife sanctuary. Then no human habituation can come from the outside and take a claim. The laws of the Forest Department, Ministry of MOF or the government will apply towards the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, will be given protection, where livelihood activities of outside people cannot be engaged anymore, right? So in both the case we said that it is not a habitat of the bird and it is a revenue village where people are living there and people do agriculture. It comes into conflict with respect to the Forest Department or the rule and laws prevailing there and the revenue villages. So to address this particular conflict, they have been denotified, which means the land is further again converted back into, in simpler words, land has been given back to the revenue villages, not under the ambit of forest rules and laws in the country. The last one, Rolapaddu Wildlife Sanctuary, located in Andhra Pradesh. This one is present in Eastern Ghats. Rolapaddu Wildlife Sanctuary in Andhra Pradesh is present in Eastern Ghats. One another fact with respect to Rolapaddu Wildlife Sanctuary is, in the last couple of years, not even a single sighting of Great Indian Bustard as seen from the bird sanctuary. The sanctuary is being created for the conservation of Great Indian Bustard, but we have less reporting or no reporting in the last couple of years, right? This is with respect to Great Indian Bustard, right? Moving further, if it comes in mains, right, how do you tackle an approach towards it, right? Why this Great Indian Bustard or how to protect the Great Indian Bustard? One, we spoke there are 4 species, so you can speak about we have to create a project which can protect all the 4 species. we spoke about the distribution and its natural habitat over the structure. We can speak on another point, right? On another point side, its habitat has to be protected. 4 species has to be conserved. Its habitat has to be protected. Number 2. Number 3. In terms of collaborations or cooperation between the, because it is not present in one region, it is present in multiple places. So, 1, the state governments has to have cooperations, and also with respect to the local people. Number 4, we need to have a long-term research and studies to be performed. Number 4. Number 5, education and awareness has to be created with local people. Number 6, land use change and grazing laws has to be collaborated with conservation of Great Indian Bustard. So, why is this required and what are the major threats if you look into it, right? The major threats, I hope. The major threats for Great Indian Bustard includes, number 1, low reproduction. We also discussed India is the only breeding ground for Great Indian Bustard in the world. Number 2, high mortality. Of Great Indian Bustard adult population. This high mortality takes place due to poaching, trapping, poisoning, and conflict or bird gets killed by the electricity lanes in the regions. This is where the entire question of discussion happened, because one of the threat for the Great Indian Bustard is the bird, when it flies, gets entangled with respect to the electric lanes that is being present, and because it gets entangled and it gets electrocuted and it dies, where the question of whether we have to go for environmental conservation or production of more solar power, so that we will be able to fulfill the requirements of, say, climate Paris agreements or climate change negotiations, or with respect to producing enough electricity for the country. This is where the question started. The Supreme Court has given its verdict towards it, right? Continuation to the discussions. The second part of the same article will discuss about right to free from adverse effects of climate change. We will discuss about the solar power plants which has been present. With respect to the solar power plants, we have one of the most important solar power plant called Badla Solar Power Plant, which is the largest solar park in the world by 2023. Badla, largest solar park in the world by 2023. Hope it has been copied. This has been, the solar park has been established from the funds from partly from climate investment fund and from other sources, partly from climate invested fund and from other sources. This is under India's solar mission. India's solar mission. It also helps India to reduce its carbon intensity, which India has been agreed in Paris Agreement, carbon intensity by 33 to 35% by 2030. Moving on to the next, in Gujarat, we take the important ones and we discuss. Modhera Solar Park. Modhera is a village in Gujarat, which is the first village in India or the country. Modhera is the first village in the country to be solar powered completely. Solar powered. The next one. Khavda Solar Park. This is the world's largest renewable energy park in Gujarat. World largest renewable energy park located in Gujarat. See, when it also comes with respect to the renewable energies, the kind of questions that come in mains is the potential for renewable energy with respect to it. There are two locations in India which has the maximum location for solar energy. The most highest potential is present with respect to Ladakh. The second highest potential is present in Gujarat in the Kutch regions. So, Kutch is the second best potential location for solar energy in India. Second best location for production of solar energy in India, that is because of incoming solar radiation. The highest one is Ladakh, the second one is this, right. The other places what is given will include Rasla, which came in news recently because of the people protested against the power plant, not for the Bustard but for the use of land, whether some of the lands which is under the government control but farmers have the right of tilling, which came in conflict. Pokhran and Polity Solar Park, which is under the progress, will commence very soon. Another most important one will be Charanka Solar Power Park, which is located in Gujarat, right. See, understand, and if you can realize this Polity, Rasla, Badla or Charanka, Modhera, you can use it in multiple places. For an example, one, preliminary, it can be a question. Two, mains, when it comes to renewable energy or solar energy or climate change agreements, India's role towards moving towards sustainable development, all these places this can be shown as an example. So, when you read this, understand this is not only from the geography point of view, you can use this as an example in multiple places. See, two most important things remember. One is whatever we study, we will have to look from the exam orientation to gain more marks. Number two, whatever we study, we have to apply it. Then only we will be getting more marks towards the part, right. And from the mains perspective, this is where you will have to find the balance. We spoke about Great Indian Bustard and how what are the threats and how it has to be protected. Similarly, there is another side, solar energy. If I have to look into the angles of it, see, this one will come under clean energy from the mains point, clean energy, renewable source, renewable energy source, potential to meet the needs of the population, right. And then we do our sustainable development goals 7, clean energy, sustainable developmental goals number 10, reduced inequalities, and also you can speak about sustainable development. This is where we have to find the balance, right? So look it from the prelims point of view, look it from the mains point of view as well, right? Moving further, the next one that we will be discussing is about Katchatheevu Island controversy. Again, I hope you would have understood. I am not taking the topic and discussing over it, because we see the geographical location which has happened in any subject nature, but we see its geography in our discussion point. So Katchatheevu Island controversy will be discussed by the respective expert faculties, right? I am going to discuss about the geographical point of view. And the world locations, the world map reading, we have discussed about the Katchatheevu locations which has been present, right? Here we will discuss in India map reading, what are the locations in India which are surrounding these regions and what is their uniqueness. That is what we will be discussing, right? And the red dot that placed will be the Katchatheevu, which will be on the, between the India and the Sri Lanka side. Surrounding this, we will start from the north to south. We do have Point Calimere. We will have Point Calimere. We do have Park Strait. We have Park Bay, Pamban Island, which is also called as Rameshwaram Island. We do have Rameshwaram, religious place. And we do have Gulf of Mannar, which is also an important biosphere reserve, not just in India, also in the world. So we will go one after the other in terms of locations, right? We will start with respect to Katchatheevu. Katchatheevu is an uninhabited area. Katchatheevu is an uninhabited area between India and Sri Lanka. Katchatheevu is an uninhabited area between India and Sri Lanka, which is slightly from the eastern side towards Rameshwaram, eastern side towards the Rameshwaram, right? We will go one after the other. Start with respect to Palk Strait, Palk Strait, right? It lies between, again, India and Sri Lanka. Palk Strait lies between India and Sri Lanka, which is named after Robert Palk. The strait, Palk Bay and Palk Strait, is named after Robert Palk, who was the governor of Madras Presidency, during British period, British time period in 1750s to 1755 to 1763. Robert Palk was the governor of Madras Presidency. The region is being named after him, Palk Bay and Palk Strait. And in this particular region of Palk Bay and Palk Strait, we do have Point Calimere, Palk Bay, Pamban Island, Gulf of Mannar, Adams Bridge. All these locations we do have. Hope it is copied. And we do have a river which flows into the regions called as Vaigai River, River Vaigai, which flows into Palk Strait, River Vaigai, which flows into Palk Strait. The next one, we'll take Adams Bridge, also called as Ram Setu. Adams Bridge, also called as Ram Setu, which is a chain of limestone shoals, limestone shoals. Shoals means land which is slightly submerged under water, will be called as shoals. Limestone shoals we use because the region has a large amount of limestone. The land is submerged under the water, so we use the word called as limestone shoals. Shoals can be present under a river or under ocean, sea, any water body, right? Shoal is nothing but a land surface which is slightly submerged under the water. If it is submerged under the water, especially when it takes place in the oceans or the seas, it does not allow the ships to navigate very easily because the depth is very shallow. So, this regions will have a lower shallow depth and it is made up of limestone. And Adam's Bridge or Ram Setu as a religious and historical belief which has been present to the faith of people, Hinduism, where they believe this is being constructed by the Lord Ram, whereas scientifically, geologically, there is a different kind of discussion has been prevailed. Geologically, Adam's Bridge is considered as land connection which existed between India and Sri Lanka. Land connection which existed between India and Sri Lanka. The scientists believe this is formed because of tectonic movements and sand getting trapped in coral reef ecosystems. Sand getting trapped between coral reef ecosystems. Whereas people believe as a Ram Setu, which is a faith of devotion and belief, right? Moving to the copied, hope it's copied. Moving to the next one, Gulf of Mannar. Gulf of Mannar has 21 islands. Gulf of Mannar region has 21 islands, and the entire region is also filled with a good amount of coral reef ecosystems, and Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. Gulf of Mannar region is a biosphere reserve. Gulf of Mannar is a biosphere reserve formed in 1987, designated in 1987, is the first marine biosphere reserve in India. Slightly deviating to add a fact to reduce the confusion, Nilgiri is the first biosphere reserve in India, whereas Gulf of Mannar is the first marine biosphere reserve in India, right? Gulf of Mannar is the first marine biosphere reserve in India. Apart from that, the region is also known for pearl. The region is also known for its pearl banks. Hope it's copied. Moving further. Next one, Pamban Island, also called as Rameshwaram Island, which connects Rameshwaram with the mainland. Pamban Island. We have a bridge there which will connect. With respect to it, we will speak about the bridge. Pamban Island is made up of white sand materials, so not suited for much of agriculture. It's largely made up of white sand, not so suited for agriculture. Pamban Bridge it's a 2.2 kilometer bridge. The number is not required, don't need to memorize the number. Just for your imagination and the understanding of the length of the bridge, I have been putting it across. 2.2 kilometer length of the bridge. This bridge will connect mainland with Rameshwaram mainland with Rameshwaram. The uniqueness of the bridge is railway scissors bridge. They used to say railway scissors bridge. The bridge can open whenever the ships has to navigate, and the bridge again joins together for the movement of people to go on with respect to it. And this is the longest, most important fact, that this is the longest bridge in India constructed over a bay. Longest bridge in India. Longest bridge in India. Constructed over a bay in India. It's the longest bridge constructed over a bay in India. Moving further, the next one, Point Calimere. Point Calimere, also known as Point Calimere, Kodaikanal or Cape Calimere, which is a wildlife sanctuary, also a bird sanctuary. Kodaikanal, Point Calimere, wildlife sanctuary or a bird sanctuary. The important animal available in the region is a blackbuck. Blackbuck is the most important animal which is present with respect to Point Calimere wildlife sanctuary, right? It's also a copied, also a Ramsar wetland site. Ramsar wetland site number 2, which has mangrove ecosystems. It also has mangrove ecosystems. Moving further, under the page number 85, we do have how invasive species threaten the natural ecosystems. That will be covered during the times of environment and geography topics, right? Kodaikanal National Park, Kilodevgana National Park. The significance of Kilodevgana National Park is a bird sanctuary, World Heritage Site of UNESCO, Ramsar wetland site. This Ramsar wetland site is also being located under Montreuil's record, also been located under the Montreuil's record, copied. Another factor towards it is, see, before independence, we did have certain factors like game reserves. For example, if you have seen this movie called Lagan, right, there will be a scene where Amir Khan and the foreign female actress will be there. She will be teaching Amir Khan how to play cricket with respect to it at the time where other British people will be coming there to hunt certain animals, right? One. Or if you have seen this movies like Bahubali, where people go there, hunt animals when there is a wild boar is been entering into villages. The queen will go there, hunt the animal. There will be a game, they play who hunts most. The game is being made. This kind of game reserves prevailed in India before independence. The kind of game reserves prevails in the world even today in African continent. Kilodevgana or Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary was a game reserve before independence. After independence, Kilodevgana or the Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary is converted into a protected area and no more game or no more hunting takes place with respect to it. That's a trivia to add on, right? The next place where we go on is page 41, India first privately managed strategic petroleum reserve, where India has created 5 million metric tons, 5 million metric tons of storage, 5 million metric tons of storage of petroleum reserves in 3 places. One is in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. The other 2 are in Mangaluru, Karnataka, and very near to Mangaluru we do have a district called as Udupi. In the Udupi district, Padur is taken as a location for the creation of strategic petroleum reserves. Right? Moving further, the next one, Nimmu Padam Darcha Road. Before going into it, as you have seen, some which has more significance we will discuss in detail, some we discuss in very brief. Everything is in approach towards the examination. Coming back to the topic, Nimmu Padam Darcha Road. As you can see with respect to it, Darcha is a place in Himachal Pradesh. Nimmu will be a place with respect to Ladakh regions. This creates an all-weather road. It creates an all-weather road between Manali in Himachal Pradesh and Ladakh. All-weather road between Manali in Himachal Pradesh and Ladakh, which will be connecting Darcha, Padam and Nimmu. So, Nimmu Padam Darcha road comes into the picture. This is the first all-weather road. This is the first all-weather road which will connect Ladakh regions. First all-weather road which will connect Ladakh region. The road passes through Shinkun Pass. The road passes through only one pass. That one pass is Shinkun Pass. The road passes through one pass, which is Shinkun Pass. Copied. The road is being constructed by border road organizations. The road is constructed by the border road organization. Over the discussion, we used a word called as all-weather road. What do you mean by all-weather road? Right? So, at any point of the time, whether the road is accessible or not, we will use it a common term called as all-weather transport. If it is a road, we use the word all-weather road, all-weather railway, all-weather port. If it is a sea, for an example, if there is any port located in the northernmost part of North American continent or European continent, during the times of winter, when Arctic freezes completely, that port will not be accessible. Navigation will not be possible. But during the times of post-winter, right, close to 8 months of a time period, post-winter to winter again, 8 to 10 months of a time period at times, based upon location again. Some places 6 months, some places 8 months, some places 10 months, this will vary, right. Those time periods I can navigate. But those 2 or 4 or 6 months I can't navigate because ice completely freezes. Same happens in Ladakh regions. During the times of winter, the snowfall takes place heavily and the road accessibility is being completely blocked. So, all-weather road is like irrespective of the weather, the road is always navigable. The port is always navigable. Railway is always navigable. Such things are called as all-weather transport networks. Why is this important? The all-weather transport network is more important in terms of one, trade, import of raw materials and export of raw materials, import of finished good and export of finished goods, movement and mobilization of troops to the border regions for the national sovereignty. So, this all-weather road of Nimmu Padam Darcha road will give you economic access, will enable more amount of development and also the national security. So, understand this can be used as points in 3 mains sub-theme areas. Right? Moving further. Next one, Moyar Valley, which was in Recitals 2024 April in page 26 and also in page 25. The Moyar is a river first. Moyar is a river which is a tributary of Kaveri. Moyar is a river which is a tributary of Kaveri, and the valley which it flows through will be called as Moyar Valley. It came in news for one reason. gyps vulture. Moyar Valley has a good population of gyps vulture in the peninsular area. Moyar Valley has a good population of gyps vulture in the peninsular area. Going into the vultures, right? We do have 9 species of vulture in India, right? Out of which the most important vultures undergone a severe threat, and within a span of less than a decade, less than 10 years of a time period, because of one factor, in certain species 99% of population declined, and that was due to usage of a drug called diclofenac. Usage of a drug called diclofenac or acetofenac. These are non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. When a cattle becomes old, the cattle has developed some amount of pain in their body parts. The cattle is taken like how we develop body pains, right? And we will be given some amount of drugs as in medicinal drugs, pharmaceutical drugs to control the pain. Same way, this is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, which is a pharmaceutical medicine, which is given by the veterinarian to the cattle, right? And if the cattle, after consumption of this non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, if it has not survived, the particular carcass body of the animal will have the drug that is thrown. Whereas vultures are detrivores, which means they consume on dead and decaying organisms and they purify the ecosystem. So when the dead body is being thrown away, vulture, being a detrivore, consumes the carcass of a cattle which has non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug like diclofenac or aceclofenac, whereas vulture cannot metabolize these drugs. Because it cannot metabolize these drugs, vulture undergoes a problem which is renal failure or kidney failure. Followed by this renal failure or kidney failure, it resemblance neck drooping symptom, What do you mean by neck drooping symptom? Is neck drooping symptom. This is a visual appearance that what we see in reality in the field. A vulture which has been neck drooped, we can have a understanding that this animal has consumed the drug diclofenac through its food chain systems, and it has affected the kidney failure and neck drooping system. Followed by the neck drooping system, the vulture dies. This one mechanism has resulted in death of more than 99% of population for some vulture species within a decade. And the alternative drugs were meloxicam, torfenamic acid. These are alternative drugs. Instead of diclofenac and acetofenac, if meloxicam is given to the cattle and the cattle dies and the cattle is consumed by the vulture, vulture not gets affected here. Torfenamic acid is given to the cattle, cattle dies, vulture consumes the carcass of the body, vulture is not affected. So we changed it. We took multiple other measures as well. And coming back to the Moyar Valley has good amount of gyps vulture, right? Moving further, the next one, Satpura Tiger Reserve. Satpura Tiger Reserve is present in Madhya Pradesh. Satpura Tiger Reserve is present in Madhya Pradesh. See, this word Sat means 7, right? Satpura, sevenfold. That is what is Satpura, right? So the Satpura acts as a watershed between Narmada River and Tapi River. Satpura acts as a watershed boundary between Narmada and Tapi River. Tapi River. Then Satpura Tiger Reserve is one of the largest tiger habitats in the world. Largest tiger habitats in the world. Moving further. Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, page 98. That we do have Kodaikanal. Kodaikanal is considered to be the princess of hills. Kodaikanal is considered to be the princess of hills. It's an hill station in Western Ghats in Tamil Nadu. Hill station in Western Ghats in Tamil Nadu. Kambam Valley is present in Kodaikanal region. Kambam Valley is present in Kodaikanal regions. The next point what we are going to discuss is not just for Kodaikanal, will be present over the Western Ghats, especially in Kerala and Tamil Nadu and parts of Karnataka, parts of Western Ghats, right. So, that is a common point for the southern Western Ghats regions, right. We do have an important plant called as rhododendron. It's a tree species, and we do have Kurinji flower which blooms once in 12 years. These are present in southern Western Ghats. These are present with respect to southern Western Ghats. Hope copied. Moving further. The next one, Thrissur Pooram festival, right. The Pooram is called as festivals of festivals. There are many Pooram will take place, but Thrissur Pooram festival is considered to be the mother of all Poorams. Thrissur Pooram is considered as festival of festival. Thrissur Pooram is mother of all Pooram festival. Mother of all Pooram festivals. It takes place in the month of April to May, and it has a history of 200 years easily. History of 200 years. Oh, copied. Sir, what is Pooram? You said it's a mother of Thrissur Pooram is a mother of Pooram festival. See, Thrissur Pooram, 10 temples participate in Thrissur Pooram festivals, right? And there will be a large numbers of elephants which are highly richly decorated, and there is a huge musical performance will be conducted. This is called as Pooram. This entire festival, this celebration is called as Pooram, right? So, this is Thrissur Pooram festival. It came in news for one reason, where the usage of elephants has been taking place in Thrissur Pooram festival. So, that's where it came into the news, whether to use it or not. This has been a question of discussion which is taking place for more than decades with respect to animal cruelty, usage of animal, human wildlife conflict which takes place. Incidents happens with respect to it, unfortunately, and the Supreme Court discussions. This is a complex scenario. What has been also been suggested as a measure is like usage of mechanical machine based structures, where you do have a robotic elephant will be there, where the people will also feel that the elephant has been represented. At the same time, the culture is not affected, and human wildlife conflict or animal cruelty as questioned by some will not come into the picture. But again, understand, Pooram itself is a richly decorated elephant moving over, carrying the goddess and god over the regions, and the festival has been celebrated. So, it has been more intricately associated with respect to the culture of the region. Right. The next one, Sulthan Bathery. This Sulthan Bathery, right? It's a town. This is entirely Wayanad map has been shown. So one part of the Wayanad, the most easternmost part of the Wayanad map, you will be able to see Sultan. The yellow colored part is the Sulthan Bathery. That Bathery is an ancient Jain temple. Bathery name here indicates ancient Jain temple, which has been used as ammunition factory, which is used as an ammunition factory or storage place by Tipu Sultan. So it gets its name from the Bathery, from the ancient Jain temple, and from the Tipu Sultan who used it as an ammunition place in the 1700s. It has been in news over its naming and its discussion. The next one, there has been a news on new army division with a focus on the eastern Ladakh, right, where this part of eastern Ladakh where Siachen glacier is being located. So moving forward, we have taken most important glaciers with respect to the Ladakh regions. See, because people always have questions like, can I read all the glaciers? So it's not possible there, because I will tell you there are 9,700 plus glaciers is present in Indian Himalayan region alone. More than 15,000 glaciers are present over the entire Himalayan region, spreading over the countries of its range. So it's not possible to read all these thousands of glaciers. The most important glaciers alone we will read, and whatever that comes in current affairs we will cover in the recitals in depth. So we do have, so this has been given in the order. So you will be able to see an alignment of northwest to southeast, right? So we will have Batura glacier. After that we will have Isper glacier, the second one, Batura, Isper. This one is Biafo, Baltora, Siachen glacier and Remo glacier. And we will also have Nanga Barbar. Just knowing the names of these glaciers is more than sufficient, trust me. Another factor to know is Siachen is the largest glacier. Siachen is the largest glacier than this. Copied. Moving further to the last point of our discussion of India mapping, places in news. So these are the places, national places which came in news. Some of them has already been covered. For example, Khavda Solar Park, which has already been covered. Moyar Valley, which has already been covered. Katchatheevu Island, which has already been covered. All other regions, whichever has not been covered. So other regions which has not been covered, we will discuss over them. Starting from number 1, Sukna Wildlife Sanctuary, which is present in the foothills of Shivaliks. Foothills of Shivaliks in Chandigarh regions. This is also known for Sukna Lake. Sukna Wildlife Sanctuary, Sukna Lake, the foothills of Shivaliks. Hope copied. The next one, Satpura Dam. Sat here means 7, Pula here means opening of a bridge. Opening of a bridge. This was being constructed by Muhammad Shah Tughlaq. With quartz from Aravallis, from quartz. Satpura 7 opening of bridge has been constructed by Sultan Muhammad Shah Tughlaq from a stone quartz found in the Aravalli regions. This has two requirements in the times when it has been constructed. One is a source of water for irrigation. Second is being used as a protective measure against enemy entry, or in other words defense purposes it's been used. The next one, Paradip Port. Paradip Port. Paradip Port, which is a major port, natural port and a deep water port in Odisha. Major port, natural port and a deep water port in Odisha, which is present in the confluence of river Mahanadi with Bay of Bengal. Confluence of river Mahanadi with respect to Bay of Bengal. Taken. The next one, Yettur Nagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Yettur Nagar Wildlife Sanctuary. This one is present in the border of Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. Present in the border of Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. Has a good amount of forest from Dandakaranya regions. Has a good amount of forest from the Dandakaranya regions. River Godavari flows through the wildlife sanctuary. River Godavari flows through the wildlife sanctuary. River Godavari flows through the wildlife sanctuary. Hope copied. In here we do have a important tribal ritual. Samaka Saralama Chatara. Samaka Saralama Chatara, which is a tribal festival. Samaka Sarlama Chatara, which is a tribal festival, takes place in Yettur Nagar Wildlife Sanctuary. After Kumbh Mela, Samaka Sarlama Jatara attracts largest number of devotees in India. After Kumbh Mela, Samaka Sarlama Jatara attracts largest number of people in India. It is believed Samaka Sarlama, the mother and the daughter, fight against an evil ruler for the unjust practices, and they are the goddess. So the goddess appears on the day, gives the wishes. It again resembles the fight that is being taken place against the unjust practices and to safeguard the people. So the festival is a belief towards from unjust to the just. Right. Moving further, the other places, the other 4 places we discussed, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Andaman and Nicobar Islands came in the news for the Shompan tribes who have been present with respect to it. Shompan tribes and Mudumalai Tiger Reserve. Mudumalai Tiger Reserve. Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. Moving further, Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, an important tiger reserve in Tamil Nadu. Part of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Habitats to tiger, elephant, other animals. We'll see in the other video. Okay, thank you.